Welcome to another cycle of Dirty Laundry Clean Confessions, a family podcast created for the next generation. Grandma Smarge can't wait to see what you'll become, Monk and Little Al. Live, pre-recorded from our family laundry room, with Smarge, Haas, and sometimes Otter, and always not the real guest. Here we hang it on the line with everyday ordinary people who are doing extraordinary things. In the room where famous people are loved, adored, and admired, however, not invited, except for the great Willie Nelson, of course. Thanks for joining us in the laundry room while we fold through life's journeys. Here, we're keeping it real, washing through stains, and making colors a little bit brighter.
Well, so
Best job in the world.
Oh, you want a funny?
Let's-
You want a funny story?
Yeah, let's
Yes.
bring it
Yeah,
back.
we
'Cause that was some lows, some crazy
Yeah, we
stories.
took
but
care of our
Okay,
darks
so-
in this one. Now we
if
want
we can
some
do a
bright,
white low,
bright
I have,
colors.
I have
bright colors.
a couple of white.
Yeah,
notes
we
for you.
need bleach. We need white.
So
we
when
need
I was-
bright.
I was in District 4. I
Happy.
was working with a guy. His name's Stan Valverde, another one of our partners. And so we get a call on a welfare check. And we'd get these periodically, like a loved one had not heard from their grandfather or whatever for a couple
Yeah,
of days.
too bad that other lady
And-
didn't have someone to do a well check after
Yeah.
4 or
so
5 days or
And
weeks.
so they're thinking, the worst could maybe happen. And so we go to this guy's house, and fortunately, the door's locked, because that was always an issue. If the door's locked, and how do we get in? Can we break the door? If there's no, and this sounds bad, but there's no smell.
oh
In
god,
other words, a dead body smell. And trust me, if you've ever been around a decomposing body, the smell is evident. You know it from the
Right.
second you smell it.
right?
If there's nothing that leads you to believe there potentially is a dead body in there, you can't break a door.
You can't
you
get
it.
can't do it.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Interesting. Okay.
You have to just go, oh, well, when he starts smelling, call us back.
Oh my
Kind of
god.
a thing. It's just,
Yeah.
just the way it is. So we get there, and unfortunately, the door's unlocked.
Oh good.
So we go in, and the house is completely dark. It's night. And my partner's in front of me, and we're walking down a narrow hallway.
Do you have your guns drawn?
No. Because
Why?
it's just a welfare check.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
but how do you know what you're walking? I'd be, see, this is why I'm not a police officer.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to ask.
No, so it's not.
I'd be like,
It's not. It's just a welfare check.
Okay,
It's not.
okay,
so
sorry.
it's just potentially a dead body, but it's not really any sort
nothing
of
has shown
sort
any
of criminal
danger.
thing.
Okay, sorry.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Absolutely. So as we're going down the hallway, and there's only one light on, it's down this, so it's kind of an L hallway, so it's a right angle. We go down the end of the hall and then go to the right angle. Partner's in front of me, lights on, down the hall, it's a bedroom, right? And I should say that before we went to the call, my partner had actually dealt with this guy before, and he's diabetic and he's blind.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Okay.
So he's like, as we're driving there, he's like, yeah, he's probably dead. I dealt with this guy like 2 years ago.
Oh, God.
He was on the verge of death then. So I'm sure he's dead.
Blind, diabetic,
So
didn't have a lot going for him.
So-
darn it,
Boy.
darn it.
so we go down the hall, and my partner looks down and he sees the guy, and he's lying in bed. His eyes are open and he's not moving, right? So he turns around and looks at me, calmly goes, yeah, he's dead. And right then the guy sat up right and said, who is there?
Oh,
You're kidding.
And my partner turns around and ran straight right into my chest. He was so scared.
boo.
Oh god, I scared the shit out of that. The skid mark cycle. Right
And I
there.
was laughing so hard. It was hilarious.
So he was fine. He
Yeah,
was
he's
just-
fine.
Wasn't checking in with
Yeah,
people.
Yeah, just wasn't checking in with
He
people.
just
my
he needed
God.
to take some personal time.
That was
Oh, what did
terrifying.
so after that, what did you say to your partner? Like,
we just started laughing. We just
I
thought
mean,
that was
just-
hilarious. You don't really call anybody out. You just go,
Right.
that was
Yeah.
hilarious.
thank
was
God
like-
it could have been worse.
The same partner, we were driving in this car in front of us, and I wasn't a traffic guy. It didn't interest me, and that was something that people don't understand. As a district guy, we're not traffic guys.
Right.
We don't do traffic.
don't
That isn't
pull
our
people
primary
over.
thought. Our primary thing, and the sergeants or anybody will tell you in a district, the most important thing is handling calls, service calls
Oh,
for
when
service.
someone comes in,
Calls
okay.
for service are the most important thing. Taking care of people's troubles.
Right.
So our area, we're driving around, and if we get a call for service to go to domestic violence, just prowler, whatever it may be, that's our focus.
Right.
If we have a lot of spare time or any spare time, then maybe look for an expired plate or whatever the case may be. I have never written a speeding ticket in my life. I don't even know how to do radar. That has never been my interest. That's for traffic guys, which we call road sniffers.
Road sniffers.
So you don't have to deal with.
Is that like you talked earlier about being on, seniority?
Yes.
Do you get put on traffic, or is that just a whole
That's
different
something
ballgame?
you seek out. So if you want to be
you're kidding.
Like I was in Metro SWAT.
Oh my God.
Who would want to do that?
Who seeks that out? I thought it was something like,
punishment.
lowest on the totem pole.
Yeah.
And punishment.
So for instance, I went to SWAT. That's a division in the police department.
Okay.
Which seems like the coolest division.
Traffic is a division.
I
in
did
the
not
police department.
realize.
Detective Bureau is a division in the police department.
Got it.
So those are all different divisions.
Okay,
So whatever your ilk is, like I did a month as a burglary detective, and I hated it. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Just stamping cases and hoping they caught somebody because there was no solvability. The only detective I'd ever be is homicide.
Yeah.
Because they spared no expense
To try and solve it.
To solve it. Burglary, like, just if they catch somebody that's doing burglaries, then try to figure out if he did this one too.
Right.
There wasn't.
There's no urgency
So, but
to
traffic
kind of like being a rheumatologist. Can't really cure it. Just kind of put a Band-Aid on it.
So traffic is something like guys wanted to do, like the motorcycle guys. That's traffic bureau. Like DUIs is the guys who do DUIs are traffic bureau.
Okay.
My last traffic training officer was like the most epic. Right after he trained me, he went to traffic bureau because one of his relatives got killed by a DUI. And he was crazed.
dead set. Yeah.
He holds the record for the most DUIs arrests in Colorado to date.
Wow.
You hear that, guys? Be sober or don't drive.
He's retired now, but
I'm just saying, yeah.
So, give you for instance, when I was training and as a recruit, the TO is supposed to give you an overview of all the job on the district.
Okay.
He was so focused on DUIs. We arrested a DUI, took him to headquarters downtown, pulled out of headquarters, got onto the street that was adjacent, immediately pulled over another DUI, went back down. I mean, this guy was insane about DUIs,
Which is
good.
good.
I mean, we need
especially
DUI
now that we have
cops.
Uber and Lyft and other things and other. I mean, and
there's so
and
many
also
resources.
live and learn.
But
That
that was his thing. I mean, it was
wow.
But that's why guys.
I didn't. Yeah, I guess I was just thinking about speeding tickets and parking.
And there's guys that liked it. There's a guy's name is I won't tell his name, but it was said that he would write his mother if she was speeding.
Hey, Mom, see you at dinner tonight, but I'll see you in court before.
Yeah, that was just the way he was.
Dinner?
So you didn't have to deal with the sad girls crying in the car whenever they got tickets.
But that being said, I'll go back to the story. So we pulled the same partner, Stan. We pulled his car over because it's literally hitting the curb, so you can't ignore it.
And it's the blind guy. No, I'm joking.
It should have been.
Joking.
So we pull his car over. There's two women, and so he's the contact officer. He's driving. So as the way we work partners is if you make a stop, the driver is the contact officer. Mm-hmm. The passenger is the cover officer. Mm-hmm. So my job is just stand back and make sure he's covered.
Right.
So I watch the rear window and watch people's actions and make sure if they start doing something kind of funky, I'm going to be on it.
Right. No one's getting out of the car.
But I'm not talking to anybody. My focus is completely on the people.
Okay.
That's my job. I'm just the cover officer, and he's the contact. So he's talking to her, and she's clearly intoxicated. He gets her out to do the field sobriety. As first, she starts kind of enticing. She unbuttons her shirt. And does a little something, trying to get him to get his mind off of
women.
The fact that she's hammered.
Lactating women.
Oh God.
So he gets her out of the car.
Using those boobies.
Gets her on the sidewalk to do the field sobriety, and she can't. She's drunk.
Yeah, she can't.
So he goes to cuff her, and she starts kicking him, right? Kicking him in the shins and stuff. And he's looking at me, and I'm laughing so hard.
Oh, nice cover,
I can't
Ron.
even
Nice
function
cover.
as a cover officer because I'm laughing because she's kicking his ass. And finally, I got myself together and helped him cover up. But initially, it was so because he's got both her hands and she's just kicking him in the shins.
He's looking at you like, Ron, are you going to help
Are
me?
you going to cover him up?
It was pretty
Boobs
funny.
to kicks.
Oh,
What was the other lady doing just in the car?
She's just a pass. She's
he's just
going
hanging
shit.
out. Okay.
Yeah, we're all going. It's going
Oh
down
my
bad.
God. Oh, that's so funny. I bet you have some miraculous stories and we could go on and
Oh
on.
my
We're going to
gosh.
have to come back for round 2. But I did want to bring back Sherri because Sherri has been patiently waiting with us
Oh, yeah,
as the
wife
supporting wife.
Of
for
a police.
the
How
whole
long have you guys
podcast.
been married?
37 years.
And 33 years you were in the force. 33. Wow. So you knew what you were getting into.
I did. He was in the academy when I met him.
Okay. So tell us about that story. Tell us how you guys met and
Yes.
yeah, Sherri, go ahead.
Okay. So I was living in Las Vegas. I had a sister that lived in Denver. She was married to a police officer that was in the same academy class with Ron.
Okay.
Twin sister.
Unfortunately, I got bad news. Her husband got killed on a domestic violence call.
Oh God.
I came back for the funeral and met Ron at the funeral.
Oh my God.
Well, hey. You know what they say about funerals? Just one less drunk.
Right? It was very unfortunate for her.
I'm so sorry to hear
But
that.
I went back to Vegas. I came back a few weeks later. My sister called Ron and said, "Hey, my sister's in town. Do you want to have a drink?" And he said,
So you called your sister and said, "Hey, sorry about that funeral and your husband and everything, but you really need to set me up with that wrong guy."
"No, no." She did it actually.
She did
Yeah,
it.
she called him and said,
Okay.
"My sister's coming into
She
town. Do you
did
want to
it.
meet us for a drink?"
Nice.
And I was supposed
Nice.
to be coming in, seeing my sister for 10 days. I ended up spending the whole 10 days with Ron. I went back to Vegas, I think on a Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember, but it's not important. But he called me a couple days later and said, "Hey, my birthday's coming up. You should come out and see me for the weekend." I got off the plane, went with this man, and this fool had a diamond ring waiting for me and asked me to marry him. I knew him for 10 days.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
And there you have it, 37
We talked
years.
for 48 hours straight about life and love and morals and values and kids.
And that was enough.
And we agreed to get married. We got married 2 weeks later, 4 weeks later, 4 weeks later. So we got married 6 weeks after we met.
Isn't that crazy?
And the rest, as they say.
Wow.
That is unbelievably
That is an
awesome.
unbelievable love story. You
That
guys
is
are.
unbelievably awesome.
I just knew.
That's when you don't overthink it. That's when you know.
How did
like
you know
knew.
though?
I just knew he has
just
this
a
very,
feeling.
just like you guys have learned about him on this podcast, he just has this very settling way
He does.
about
Like,
him.
there's
and this
times I'm like, oh, I'm going to call Ron when I can't sleep.
assurance without being,
Ron, can
it's
you
like,
just tell me one of your stories?
yeah, it's like an assurance without being cocky, but it's
Yeah.
like, I know what I want. I'm 100% sure what I want. You are what I want. This is what we're going to do. And let's go.
Wow.
And it was very enticing and very
I
exciting.
bet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think what you're describing probably is like a person that is very assertive, that's very sure of themselves. However, leaves the ego at the door.
Yes, because he's still very loving. And
Yep,
Very
leaves the ego
humble.
at the door.
Very humble. Yeah.
But
Very humble.
still
You know,
is
this
that
man-
man that's going to walk through the door.
This man is a recipient of like over 22 awards while he was on the job.
I know. I was
Medals.
looking through this book.
Medals
Yeah.
and awards and commendations from citizens, from coworkers, from superiors, from the city. And
my God.
he never wore them. He said it was bragging. He never wore them.
Why
on the
is that?
job.
It's not bragging, Ron.
Is that kind of what all police officers think, or
No.
just you personally?
Just me,
or-
me personally, I can't speak for other ones, but I
Okay.
think that for me, it, I did the thing, but it wasn't, to me, it wasn't a big thing.
Because it was your job.
Yeah. I just,
And that's
You just
probably
felt
what
like
made
you were
you do
just
your
going to
job
work
so
every
well.
day.
Is probably if you would have looked at those awards and medals and displayed them in a way that you felt was bragging, that probably would have taken away from that part where you said, "I have to. This is personal. This is not personal."
and to me,
it probably would have shaded that for you.
everything I did, I really did because I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed I won't say, I don't want to say danger.
Excitement.
I get
Adrenaline. I mean,
Yeah,
everybody
You're
has.
obviously an adrenaline junkie.
absolutely. And so I like the intensity. I like the last ops I had in SWAT, a guy had shot at a cop at 3rd and Santa Fe, just out his window. He saw there's a 7-Eleven there,
What the hell?
and it's catty corner to where his apartment was.
I'm never leaving the house, guys.
And he shot at a
keep doing
cop,
your
so we got
laundry.
called. We got called
And
out.
my podcast.
And I there's a level of impatience to me because we had at that point in time when I first started in Metro, we didn't have the robots with the cameras and the blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that it evolved into that. And then, hey, you know, if they get a camera in there and get an eye in before they send a body in, I'm all for that. You know, they don't want to send a guy in there.
Right.
As long as they don't send the dogs in first, I'm okay.
Right.
Yeah, no, the dogs
Gotta
were
be
good
safe.
too. Dogs were great too.
I know, but I'm just
And I
like,
can tell you a dog. I
no!
can tell you a dog story too.
Okay.
But many dog stories.
But,
But,
I mean, they're wonderful, but it's just like,
so yeah, and
did he choose that?
that's the hard part, right? And that is,
They love it.
you know, but they do love it.
Yeah.
But so they had the robot, and I'm like at this point in time, I'm the old guy on the SWAT team. I'm at the tail end of being,
So you're Tom Selleck.
yeah,
Almost. Yeah.
yes, clearly.
In Blue Bloods. You're like,
Yes.
I've done this so many times. And yeah.
So I'm at the end. I'm kind of at the end of they're all.
That's a
younger,
compliment,
All much
by the
younger
way.
than me. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so the robot can't get up the stairs because the way the stairs are, it's turning. And all these guys are like, keep doing it, keep doing it. Well, at some point, I'm like, fuck this.
Let's
I'm
go.
not doing this.
Right.
So I grabbed the robot and
Me and my old knees are
and
going to
then-
take this robot
and
up the
is me,
stairs.
I guess being crazy or whatever. And this guy had already shot a cop. I'm like,
I think
do
that's
this.
sensible.
so I grab the robot, walk up the stairs, and sit at the top of the stairs and go, okay, now send it in the fucking apartment. I'm over this.
Come on, guys.
You know?
Let's go.
So, I mean, at some point, I was like, I can't do this.
How's that robot work?
I'm watching this for 15 minutes, watching this robot go 3 stairs.
Okay,
and fall
that's
over
crazy
backwards.
shit, right?
Yeah.
That there is
Well,
crazy
and you
shit.
can't wait any longer. You have urgency.
But then
in
you
your
have
job.
these people that are in charge of the robot that if they don't get that robot up the stairs, then their job is
Yeah.
they're not doing their
But-
job
but
right.
they're-
But they're
they'll-
like,
but,
but they'll do it over.
Yeah.
And you're like,
After,
you-
after 15 minutes,
they're
I
almost like
couldn't do it anymore.
scientists.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not really.
And I think a
police
lot, and
officers.
no offense to the younger guys, they're so technologically,
Dependent.
yeah, it's
Oh
dependent.
my God, you
or,
need to talk to Poppy G.
you know, that they sit there and go, well, this is what we're supposed to use. This is the way we're supposed to do it.
So
This
let's
is what
not
it's
think
supposed-
outside the
yeah,
box.
Yeah, they just go with this is what it's supposed to be. This robot's supposed to go up these stairs, so we're going to sit here and do this for 15 minutes of this robot not going up the stairs. I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm over this.
No.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can't handle it anymore.
So with all of these stories and everything, like, did you always come home? Like, what was it like between the two of you, Sherri and Ron?
that
like,
was my
did you-
question.
oh,
Pull it
sorry.
right out of my mouth. No, go ahead,
Sorry,
please.
Hollis, sorry.
No, go ahead.
But like, what was your ritual or whatever? Like, did you say how was your day, or did you wait for him to tell you? Because
Well, for years,
I think being
I was
married to a police officer, I'd be like, I don't know if I want to ask how your day was. Like, maybe
Yeah.
you just
years
want to
I
tell
was
me.
asleep when he got home.
yeah.
Oh, that probably was good.
So that
right,
was
right.
good.
Okay.
And
okay.
then if you ask our kids who are now 33 and 31, they're like,
Okay.
that's just the way it was. He was a cop and that's just the way it was. And
Right.
cops were at our house all the time. It was
Right.
a great support system.
right.
But
But not
it
a lot
was
of
basically
stories,
the
or-
only rule we set was no drama at home because he got enough drama at work.
Right.
So we
That's a
tried
good
not to
rule.
have drama at home. He told funny stories. I didn't really want to hear the gory stories.
okay.
I didn't want to. So
never did.
that's a boundary that I set. I didn't want to hear them unless he really needed to talk about them. And
Right.
Like we talked
Oh,
about
that's nice.
Columbine a
That's
lot.
nice. Yeah.
He had his shooting. We talked
So
about
you guys
that
had
a
this
lot.
understanding of.
But our daughter, like
And
the
respect.
last 3 years I was in SWAT,
She was
every
a
time I get
nervous
called
wreck.
out, she'd get all.
Yeah, she
Oh, you're,
got
so
anxious.
that was one of my like. Did this affect your kid? So it would affect
Yeah.
your
It
daughter.
did.
Why so much just at the end?
She was
Because-
older and she understood more of what he did for a living.
She understood when I got called out, it was something.
It was
Yeah.
something big.
Yeah.
Because you're with
Yeah.
SWAT now,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
just not gonna.
Like
Yeah.
when I first went on SWAT, she was 5 and Joe was 7.
7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she.
So
grew
she
up
didn't
with it,
understand.
and she started learning what this was as she was
So
growing.
when I got called out, she understood. Like when
And it was
she's younger,
dangerous.
she didn't understand. Like when I got called out to Columbine, she didn't.
Know what that
Right,
was.
right.
She,
She
just
was
knew
only
dad had to go
5.
to work.
was that
Right.
part of your retirement decision, or did you? Was this just the time for you to retire?
It was time. It was
Okay.
time. You know, because it's a young man's job. So
So that's your daughter
I retired. I retired when
That
I
re-
was 60.
acted that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I retired when I was 60.
Okay.
And let's be honest, being a cop, especially if I were maybe a lieutenant or sergeant when you're not working a car, you know, you can maybe go longer. But being a patrolman, it's a young man's game. I mean,
Right, right.
I got to the point where I was my last resistance. getting a scrap with somebody. That's to get somebody to rest.
True. Yeah.
When I was 58, I'm like, I'm getting kind of on the tail end of being able to do
being
the
able
scrap.
to.
Right.
Right.
That's
okay.
hard on your body.
Yeah.
But he told me when he asked me to marry him, he said, I want to be honest with you. I could promote, I could work in a school, I could be a detective, but my passion, which is what we're talking about,
Right.
would be toe to toe with bad guys for 30, 35 years. And I won't make as much money, but I promise you I'll be
And here
really
comes
happy.
Sherri. I'm in.
Yeah, and he was really happy.
He was, yeah.
And he
You
was
can tell
really
he's
happy.
he's beaming
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah.
that.
He was
I love my
really
job.
happy.
So you felt that you knew that was it.
I
Did you
did.
hesitate at all?
to marry him?
When he said like, I'm just gonna, I
No,
want to do
because
bad.
No, because it's what he wanted
Yeah.
to do.
And you knew it.
And I didn't know what I wanted to do at that point. So I thought he's so lucky that he
That's
knows
how
what
I
he
feel
wants
about
to
Poppy
do.
G. He's
Yeah.
he's
You know,
known since he
and-
was 16 what he wanted to do.
Yeah, he knew it and
That's
he lived
wonderful.
it and it was
Yep.
wonderful. And you hear the stories about how cops they chippy or cheat on their wives and they, those kind. And I never worried about it.
Oh, I didn't. Are they? Is that
They're
something you hear
some
about?
of them are notorious for it.
for-
but
Wow,
Oh,
really?
okay.
Yeah.
my favorite story was
What is Chippy? What's that?
cheating.
Oh, okay.
Their
So
wives, yeah.
a girlfriend is a chippy.
A girlfriend is a chippy.
Oh,
Is
interesting.
this cop words?
Cop lingo, yeah.
Thank you. I was like, or is this like I'm
No.
not keeping up
No,
with?
it's cop lingo. And my favorite story about that, I never
fun.
worried about him because I knew his character. I knew he was loyal and loving and,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
didn't want to jeopardize his
That's why it's
family,
lasted
but
37 years.
I told you on the break that I used to go on ride-alongs with him either on his birthday or on our anniversary.
Yes,
whenever I
Buds.
could,
What do you think about that? That's how they celebrate their anniversary.
because it's the
Is
only
that
way I
not
could see him. So
Adorable.
when he was on the SWAT team, they always had to go down to Taste of Colorado because there was trouble
Oh,
down there.
gosh,
So
yeah.
I show up at Taste of Colorado to go see him, and him and Tom McKibben, the famous Tom McKibben, are standing there talking to two midgets, women.
Oh.
And I'm walking up behind him, and I hear her say to him, I'm just the right height, and you can set your beer on my head.
Oh.
And I told him, I almost want you to go for it.
See what that's all about.
And you're in the car.
No, I walked up
Sherri's
behind
Oh,
right
you're
him.
walking up here. I was like,
Because they were at
it's right
Taste of
there.
Colorado walking
Oh,
around
yeah, I
Taste of
couldn't. I was trying
Colorado.
to get
Yeah.
this pictured
So
in
we're
my
just-
head. You're in.
And I'm
Okay,
like,
so
I
you were walking
almost
up.
want you to go for
So we
it.
just walked around.
I just
Taste
Yeah.
so you were
Did you
walking
just
around- oh
introduce
my
yourself
gosh.
right off the bat? Oh,
yeah.
hi there. I'm
That's
Ron's
why-
wife.
Oh, that's
How are you?
hilarious.
That sounds
So
hilarious.
because she brought up Tom McKibben, I have to tell you a story about my partner, Tom
Absolutely.
Yeah,
McKibben.
please
Absolutely.
do.
Joy.
Clearly-
Tom would do anything for Ron or his family.
So I have
Aw.
two stories. He is probably the most genuine
He's
person
wonderful.
you'll ever meet.
He's the
He
best.
is 100% the nicest guy
Besides
ever.
you.
Yeah.
However, a little bit crazy.
Fair.
So we were on it was a barricade. The guy had shot at Lakewood PD and then actually gone and gained entry into a house of people of people he did not know.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so okay.
It was a hostage situation with people he didn't know. It wasn't like a son or daughter. It was people.
I have to always.
Wow.
Hostage situations always intrigue me for some reason.
Yeah.
So
Intrigue me.
the two of the people had gotten out of the house, but there was still a woman in the apartment with him. So the guy clearly wasn't the smartest person in the world because they have what they call a throw phone, which is a direct communication between. They throw it into the location, and it's direct communication between the suspect and the negotiators.
Right.
So
Ah,
there's
okay.
this-
Okay.
So they throw it in the apartment or the house, and they can talk to
In
the
hopes
negotiators.
that. Okay. Gotcha.
And I probably don't know if I should say this, but it also has a camera, right?
Okay.
So they throw the throw phone in. Well, the guy sends his one hostage out to get the throw phone. Well, two of the guys on the SWAT team grab her and take her out the window. Now he doesn't have a hostage.
Oh, okay.
So there's no
So
hostage.
he's screwed. He has no leverage.
Yeah. So they send me and Tom up to the apartment. It's a garden level apartment, and Tom is on what they call a gas pole. So it's a gas grenade on the end of a pole, and so you deploy it. It deploys CS gas into the location.
Okay.
Boy, there's been a couple times I've wanted something like that.
Yeah. So Tom goes, and I'm his cover. That's my job. I'm on the weapon, and if the bad guy comes up, if I have to dump him, I'll dump him, whatever the case may be. But my job is to cover him because he does no weapon because he's got both hands on his gas pole.
Right.
So he deploys it. He goes and deploys.
But isn't that a weapon?
It's just gas. It just makes it
But it's not considered a weapon.
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
It's more of just an irritant. It's just
Right.
to try to convince them to come out.
Right.
Okay.
So he deploys it. Well, the bad guy's in his bedroom, and he grabs the gas pole and he's like, "What the fuck are you guys doing? Get this out of here!" And my partner, Tom McKibben, crazy person, he's pulling back, and I tell him because the blinds are drawn. I said, "I don't have you covered. I can't see. I don't know what this guy's doing. Drop the pole."
So they're fighting over the pole?
Yeah. So he looks at me.
Oh, no.
And he laughs and he goes, "It's kind of like fishing, ain't it?" And he just starts laughing.
God. I got a big one on the line.
And
I am so glad you can find humor
Check this
in
one
a
out.
situation like that.
And he's just
Wow.
laughing. He's laughing just
Kind of like fish. Oh,
Wow, what a
God.
great partner. You need someone
my
who can
God.
find the joy in,
Well, I'll
in
give you-
some scary situations.
There's so many stories, but
Yeah.
I'll give you one more. So the story of the guy who killed his 5-year-old son and killed himself. Tom is putting the explosive on the door, right? So this guy's already fired like 6 shots at our fugitive unit, and he's putting it on the door, and we know he's inside, and it's squeaking. It's just the loudest. If you would think the loudest noise ever on someone's front door.
Right.
This is it.
yeah.
Right? And me and another guy are covering him. And he puts it on there. And we're like, "That's good enough. Let's get the fuck out of here." And he's like, "No, one more time." And he just does
Does it again.
as slow as he can. Does it again. I'm like, "What?" We're like, both of us are like, "What is wrong with
What
you?"
are you doing,
Just
man?
one more. Just one more. I want to make it perfect.
Adrenaline junkie.
I have to ask, since you've retired and this was your passion, and we just said how great that is.
Yes.
So, how do you fulfill that passion? And Sherri, has it been difficult that he's been retired?
yeah. Coming from like the most peak adrenaline rush of your life into
right, and now you're not
retirement.
doing it, so you have to find a way. And is he asking you to do things like parachuting or anything like that? Is he like asking you to
Parasailing,
get in there and share this adrenaline with him, or what's going
bungee
on?
jumping.
No.
So 2 questions, basically.
No, but when we worked, we didn't have a lot of time for travel, which is another passion of his. So we've traveled
Nice.
to 7
Good.
countries.
Okay. Oh, good.
So that's been fun
Since you retired or all together?
since we retired.
Oh, wow.
But I'm going to share a secret, some dirty laundry,
Oh.
if you will.
Dirty confession. Here we go.
I came home one day and he was watching reality TV, which he never used to do. And I'm like, "What is he doing?" And I just kind of went about my day. And then the next time I caught him doing this,
Oh, that's.
he started sharing some of the show with me.
Oh my gosh.
And then he said, "Sit down and watch this with me. It's so cool." And I'm like, "Why? Why is he doing this?" So I sat
Yeah.
down with him. And then I found out that it's the drama
Yeah.
of the show. And he'd go, put the show on pause and say, "Oh, this reminds me of a call I was on."
Hence
and he
reality.
would talk about a call.
Oh,
So he misses
wow.
the drama.
I mean,
the
who
drama, and then he
that's
gets to
how he
relive it.
satisfies it.
Then he gets to
and
relive
to a
it with
certain
all of
degree,
this.
Yeah.
So what's your dirty pleasure? What's the show that
A
you
90
love?
Day Fiance.
Oh my
Is
god.
that just crazy crap?
Yeah, it's-
I have to stop watching it at certain points. I get embarrassed. Like I'm in the room by myself, and I'm like, "Oh dear, is someone not going to step in?"
Right.
Either side of the family. No, I'm like, does nobody? Do these people not have family? They show the family. No one's saying a word.
No.
No.
I don't watch that show.
No, it's
I
crazy because
Oh, you
I
should.
can't get
Yeah,
into it.
it's,
Is it good?
well, then you have Love Island. I watch that.
He
too.
watches
Love
Have you watched
Island.
Naked and Afraid?
No, not
No.
yet. Not yet.
Is it good?
What about
That would be
um,
Tom
My
McKibben.
favorite
Tom
one
McKibben
is,
should go
my
on Naked
favorite
and Afraid.
Naked and Afraid you have to watch is it's this one lady and this one guy, and you get dumped on this
island,
island, right?
yeah.
And no clothes or whatever, and you get to bring 1 or 2 things, I guess, on the island. And I don't know if it was 3 or 4 days in, and the lady finds out that this guy was a homeless guy, and that's where and then she goes,
What?
she's like, "I'm out. I think he's on vacation. He's gonna inhabit this island forever." Like everything they would come up to, he was fine. Like there's bugs flying out. It doesn't even bother him. She's just like, "What is this guy like? Oh my god."
His partner would be.
Oh my god.
Oh my
He's
god!
built
And then
for that
she
show.
found
He
out,
would win that show.
and then
He
she
would.
found out
He
he
would.
was home, and she goes, "I'm out. He'll be here forever."
He would
Yeah.
win $1 million on that show.
One more Tom McCoy. There's so many Tom McKibben stories. Just you got to know. So when
Is
he
it
was
an on the job one?
So no,
It doesn't matter. I
this
kind
is
of
when
like
he-
the character.
So he grew up.
Now, is he still with us?
Yeah, oh,
Yes, yes,
Okay,
he's
good,
the
good.
sweetest.
And now, a word from our sponsors. Hatcher Fly Co. They sell handcrafted flies for all your river excursions. Steelhead, trout, salmon, custom flies, and merchandise. Use the code Dirty Laundry, no space, for 15% off your next order. That's Dirty Laundry for 15% off at hatcherflyco.com. Feel the tug.
Crazy.
We were out at a comedy club one night, Ron and I and the kids, and he got called out. He was still on the SWAT team. Tom had moved to the airport by
Oh,
that,
and your
at
poor
that point.
daughter's like, great.
And
We're at Comedy Club.
He called Tom at 11:30 at night and said, "I've got the SWAT car. I'm getting called out. The kids and Sherri are at a show. It'll be over like at 12:30." And Tom picked us up, drove us 20 miles home.
Oh, and that's a
Right.
partner.
And never said, well, maybe, or no, it's inconvenient. Yes.
No, not
the answer was yes. I will be there.
No
When
questions
we
asked.
walked out, he was there.
Oh my
nice.
God, what a gem.
He's a sweetheart.
Shout out to Tom.
Yes.
So
I
kinda-
love you,
So I got
Tom.
one more Tom McKibben
Go
story.
ahead.
So,
The way you're smiling,
so he was.
do you have something?
He grew up in.
This
San,
is, I want to hear more about Tom.
so he grew up in San Luis
I'm
Valley.
happy.
He's a farm boy,
Yeah.
right down by Alamosa and that.
Yep.
Alamosa.
Yeah. So he,
I'm afraid of Alamosa. I've had some experiences in Alamosa where I'm like, I don't think I should be in Alamosa.
so he's 13 years old,
Okay.
and a guy's driving by. He's got two horses in the back of his pickup truck, and he has the kind of the rail extenders to kind of keep the horses from.
Just in the bed of the
Yeah.
truck.
Yeah.
So one horse jumps out and breaks its leg. Right?
Oh no.
Well,
So-
that's why we use horse trailers.
Yeah. So Tom goes up, sees this guy, and the guy's like upset because obviously his horse is injured. He's in the bar ditch there by his house. And Tom says to this guy, he's 13. He says, "You want me to take care of this?" And the guy goes, "Yeah." So Tom goes into his house, gets a .22 pistol, shoots the horse between the eyes,
Oh my God.
kills it.
Puts a
obviously.
pulley.
Then he gets a block and tackle, hooks the horse up, and puts it back in the back of the guy's truck.
You're kidding.
No.
Holy
I have a question. Well, I have several.
So do I.
Where's
What?
mom and dad? Where are Tom's parents? Like,
No, they're just
like,
out
what are you
about-
doing, honey? Well, I'm just gonna go. I have to go
Gonna
shoot
go
this
kill this horse.
I have to get my gun. I have to shoot the
Oh, yeah.
horse because the horse died, and then I have to get it back in the truck. But don't worry about it, mom and dad. I'll be home for
Go ahead.
dinner.
His mom and dad, but mom, would drop him and his twin brother off. So we have the twin connection. Tom and I.
Twins.
Twins.
Wow,
yes.
Twins.
and you've heard
Twinning.
about.
Tim
We
and
want
Tom.
to do a podcast
And-
called Twin Talks.
Tim and
Yeah.
Tom.
Me and my sister, Tom and Tim.
And my brother.
She would drop them
Yeah.
off in the woods for 2 weeks and leave them there and then pick them up 2 weeks
Why?
later every summer.
Did
so
they
they
like
would
this?
survive.
Yes.
Yeah, they loved it.
What?
He,
So they would make their own food. He can literally
There
start a
wasn't
fire
a
with
fight.
2 pieces of
This
steak.
wasn't a
how old?
grounding.
How old?
from 15 on,
15 on.
Stop. That's actually really cool though.
that he can start a fire.
That's a
with
whole
the flint.
podcast.
Just the
That
flint and
is
the-
so cool.
I would love it if I could have been the parent to do that, but I don't think I was equipped with that.
But his-
I would have been
But that being
like,
said, his dad died when he was 15 years old with a heart attack.
Welcome to the Dad Club. We got
yeah,
quite a few
We
of
have a
those
dead
here.
dad
Yeah.
club. We do. Yeah,
Yeah.
dead dad
And
club.
Tom,
All of
Tom is
us.
awesome. He's just,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All of it. Welcome to the Dad Club. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
But his
this
his
is
his
my dad right there.
yeah his
Yeah.
his dad died of a heart attack when he's like I think 15,
Oh, geez. That's a tough age.
and his mom's still alive.
And his mom was like, you know what? You're going to learn.
You're going to go
And
pretty
you're
Well,
going to figure this
apparently-
out.
Yeah.
Bye.
And his
Wow.
his mom now has just moved in with him.
Oh, wow.
That's
No
so
way.
sweet, apparently.
Full circle.
So,
Love
yeah,
that.
Tom's awesome.
He's a grandpa
So-
now. He's enjoying life.
Oh, we would love to hear from Tom. So
would.
reach out to him, see if he'd want to
Oh,
be
yeah.
on
Oh,
the
he will.
podcast.
That'd
Yeah.
be great. So in this, with this podcast and, you know, kind of starting it for the grandsuds and everything so they can listen to it in 20, 30 years, if they so choose. What would you like to, how would you like to see your profession, your passion in the next 30 years? Like what would you like, if you could just paint the picture of the perfect police force? Like I'm
Wave a
assuming-
magic wand.
Yeah, wave them. I'm assuming like the media get a clue about facts and not facts.
That would
or
be nice.
like what is it that would
I
what
think
is
it's-
it that you'd like to see?
I think it's funny that I think you're seeing during the BLM thing that they were trying to erase the whole concept of police. You know, defund the police. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. That's
And
to me.
but now you're looking on. There seems to be more police shows and reality police shows now than ever before.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think people are starting to understand that it's a necessary job.
Absolutely.
Not a necessary evil.
Absolutely.
Just necessary.
With that being,
Not
Absolutely.
just necessary because there is evil.
Yeah.
with that being
Not it's not an evil job. It's because there is evil.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I think that most people understand, and I will say this especially as a patrolman, the guy who handles domestic violence and drunks and
Murderers.
and well, 96, we call them 96, but people are crazy. They have mental issues. You're handling all these things. It is to me the most difficult job anybody could ever do.
You have to be so versatile.
Hands down.
you know?
Hands down.
And nobody understands how difficult a job it is. And I loved every minute of it. Maybe because it was difficult. Maybe because it was
Different.
every day was different.
Yeah.
But with that being said, even though I loved it, you have to understand having to deal with people at their worst possible circumstances.
Yeah. And being reasonable.
Yeah.
Well, I think I was listening to Jelly Roll the other day on a podcast, and he said something like, you're not meeting these people on their best day.
No.
You're just not. So you have to be ready for
Probably
that.
their worst day.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely.
you would hope it's their worst day.
And everything that comes with that.
And on every
So-
aspect, where you're talking domestic violence, or you're talking, I had a woman down by the St. Francis shelter, and I was having a conversation with her, and then she starts having a conversation with somebody that isn't there,
Oh God. Yeah.
and to be able to navigate that. And I'm just a person, and nobody understands that we're just people.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm not superhuman. I'm not from Mars. I'm not a robot. I'm just a person.
Right.
And so I'm trying to navigate and be as understanding with this person and try to
Exactly.
figure out what she needs.
Right.
Right.
You would like more understanding about the actual career.
Yeah.
That's a
And,
great question,
you know-
Marge. That was great.
But
Yeah.
it's a beautiful career. I mean, it really is.
Well, it has to be. And I would think the majority of people that would go into it want to do good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I think that cops,
That's what I assume.
Like
I don't
everybody
think
else.
I don't picture cops going into this because they want to do bad.
No.
I think they have their 5% like every other career. That
I was
Right.
just going to say,
can't
but
handle it.
every
and,
other, yep.
and
Loves
you
the
know,
power
Yes.
hungry people. Yeah.
Do you
But
think-
95% of them are good men. And I think while he talks about how he wants the policemen to be themselves, I wish everybody would have an understanding and a compassion for what they do.
Or
every
what they
day.
actually do
agree.
every day.
I
Do
would
you think
agree.
these reality shows, will help people understand more?
I think so.
Like, and all the cameras that are on everything now?
I think so because I think a lot of people watch it just for the thrill, but I would like to hope that they take a step. I think the best actually police reality show is Body Cam, which is on ID.
Yeah, I watched that one
Yeah.
because they're actually showing like
the
the
interaction.
partner
Real footage.
and the guy,
And-
like whoever's pulling over, whoever's sitting in the car. You got to see two cameras.
Yeah,
on
and
some
you
of
also
them.
see because it gives you kind of aspect of the potential danger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's danger, and there's people like, for instance, I'll go back to George Floyd officer. I can't remember his name. The one who did.
Not important.
But there comes a point at which
Exactly.
you go. Judgment has to be paramount, and what I'm doing, and obviously there's a 5% that don't understand what I'm doing.
Right.
And this guy put a black eye on everybody that wore a badge. And when I was on the job, I wanted
Which is
to,
terrible for
yeah,
everyone.
I wanted to shed the best light. When I was on the job, I wanted to have people walk away going, that was a good interaction.
Right.
Even I had guys that I arrested that asked me for a hug.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
My favorite was when people
Aw.
would say to him, "Wow, you're really smart. Why are you a cop?"
What?
I'm sorry,
What does that
but
mean?
I'm sorry, but
Can't
if
be a
we
smart
do have
person?
police officers, I would prefer smart ones.
I would too.
I had a woman that I was at the King Supers at 9th and Corona, And
What
she
does
walked
that mean?
and she walked
I have
up
to
to me and she
dissect that.
said, "Do you remember me? You handled an accident 6 months ago that I was on." I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. And she's like, "You were so nice and understanding. Can I hug you?"
Oh,
And
there you go.
That was my goal.
Right.
There you
Again,
go.
if I had to scrap with somebody, I was more willing to scrap with somebody.
Right. But you're there to help.
But I want to, if it's not necessary, I don't want to do that. If
Right.
I had an old guy tell me when I first got on job, and when you're a young guy, you're full of piss and vinegar, and you want to just wreck everybody, and you're like, and an old cop said to me, "It's better to talk for 10 minutes than to fight for 2."
Fair.
Absolutely.
That's great advice, I think.
And I
really
learned
like
from
that.
that. It's better just to go, hey, dude, we can do this 2 ways, but eventually you're going to jail.
Yeah.
So do you want to just
How do you want to do it?
yeah, we can fight, or we can just turn around and go to jail. They're going to jail either way.
Yeah.
So, how did you deal with like all the traumas that you dealt with? Like, there has to be some mental issues. Like, you obviously seem very calm, cool, and collected, and that's very
I think it has
awesome
to
of you.
do
But I
with
feel
who's
like,
sitting to the left of him.
well, absolutely, your partner makes the world a difference. But I feel like all cops must have some type of like support system. Like, how do you guys maneuver this lifestyle?
So they have peer support, but I never really needed that. I'll be honest with you, and maybe that's unique to me, but it was never like, for instance, all the dead bodies I've seen. I can't even.
Yeah,
count.
probably hundreds.
Yeah, so many, and in various forms of mangledness.
And you're so normal.
And to me, it was always. I'll give you for instance. My dad died when I was 29, and he died driving home from work. He had a heart attack. His car crashed.
Oh, did
Sounds
anybody
very
else get
similar.
hurt?
Yeah.
Did anyone else get hurt?
No,
Oh,
fortunately, he worked.
Isn't
at
that amazing?
Martin Marietta, and he just drove off the side of the road. And,
He worked at Martin Marietta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that what happened to your dad?
He was being taken to the hospital and they got pulled over. But anyway.
Okay.
So there's a
Yeah.
big field there, off like by Waterton Canyon, right there, and he just kind of slowly veered off the road, and
My dad died on Hampton.
They
right
found-
there by Chatfield.
yeah, that was right by Chatfield too. His was done
Whoa.
on
I
Waterton,
just
though,
got
right there.
goosebumps.
Me
Yeah,
too.
So,
I just got
so he had a heart attack. It was in 89, right before Christmas in 89.
Wow.
And so they called me because on the back, because he was a notorious speeder. So on the back of his license, I wrote in case of emergency call, Officer Ron Fox, Denver Police Department, so I could potentially get him out of tickets. But,
Or help him
Yeah.
out or
yeah.
be involved.
Yeah.
Help Dad.
So when I
Oh.
found him, they saw that on the back, and it had my phone number on the back. So they called me and said, "You need to come to Swedish Medical Center."
Oh my gosh, that's where I had to go to see my dad.
So,
Whoa.
so I was.
And that's my dead body experience, like my worst. Like I've seen other dead bodies, but
So
that one, not worst, just different.
so kind of my take on it was.
Swedish, yeah.
I mean, I've seen hundreds of dead bodies, but when they called me into the family room and they said he's.
Oh, I had to go to the family room too.
So he says, "Do you want to see him?" I'm like, "I've seen dead. I don't want to see dead.
Yeah.
I don't want to see somebody I know dead. I just don't want to see that."
Right.
So I never did. And
Didn't you-
my mom
really?
the
You
same
didn't
way.
need that closure?
No.
What I did
Wow.
is they asked me, they said, hey, he's in this room. We're going to move him over to the family room. Do you want to? And I just went into this dark room where he was laying there, and they still had tubes. So I took the tubes out, and he had a mustache and a beard, and kind of fixed it and said, "Thanks, Dad, for everything."
Yeah, no.
But then I didn't want to see him in the family room when they had done stuff. You know what I mean? I did.
Yeah.
I had to be done.
The only thing I did was I went home, and it's kind of freaked her out because I went home and I had 3 shots of
Yeah.
whiskey, right? Because he told me when I die, I want you to have 3 shots of whiskey for me.
He told you that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm going to cry.
Yeah,
Good.
my dad told me when he died, just please play Willie Nelson at my funeral.
So I went home, and she thought,
I did it.
because I will say this, my family has a propensity for alcohol issues.
Funny, mine
Right.
does too.
My
Are you guys related?
my dad,
You guys have the same dad?
Family tree.
my dad was a functioning alcoholic.
Oh my gosh!
And,
Something to get thrown in the laundry
and
here.
my brother,
We got a mixed
Mixing him-
load.
Yeah, we got a
and my
mixed load.
and my brother died when he was 40 from alcohol.
No.
Oh,
So you have.
wow.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm making all these jokes. I
No,
didn't
no,
realize
no,
it was
no,
that's
that's
that.
fine.
that's
Okay.
fine.
It's fine.
But Poppy G, he's 4 years sober.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was.
So so I mean, that when I went home and I started having a couple of drinks, she's
like,
oh shit.
I'm like, oh crap.
She even
Here
mentioned-
it comes.
but
We're
that's
going
the
off the
thing-
deep end.
But that's the thing about the communication, right? She says, "Are you okay?
Yeah, you have
Why are you
to let me
drinking?
know.
Yeah.
Why are you drinking? Why?
Have
What
to
is
let
going
me
on
know.
here?" And I said, "I promised my dad I'd have 3 shots. I don't know why 3. And
So random. Yeah.
But so I had 3 shots.
It's not funny.
And said,
How old
loved
were
his
you when your
dad.
dad told you that? Do you remember that?
probably 20.
Yeah, I remember I was 14 years old. I remember where I was sitting. He said, and Willie Nelson was playing and says, "Hey, when I die, I want you to plant a, oh God, I'm going to forget the name of the bush. It's a little yellow flowers. I think it starts with a P. I'll think of it. And play Willie Nelson
Pot
Remember
plant?
Me at my, yeah, that could be.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Play that at my funeral, please."
My dad.
And I did that, but it's weird how something like that, and I hadn't thought about that for years.
And it just pops up.
And I'm sure you hadn't have thought about it.
My
and
dad-
you're like, okay, I
my
got
dad
to do
had his
this.
first heart attack when I was 17.
Oh, so
Oh, wow.
he had a heart attack
Had
before.
3.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So it was a gift you had him as long as you had
yeah.
him.
His
Yeah.
dad.
Oh, my gosh.
My dad
dad
was
was
awesome.
awesome.
He was. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's, yeah.
We were
that's how I felt.
super close. Me and
See,
my
me
mom,
and my dad.
not so much.
No, but yeah, I love
You
you,
guys
Grams,
had
and you
your-
know I do. But hey, I was.
What did your dad do, real quick?
He was a machinist.
Dude, stop. This is so weird. All right.
He was a machinist, tool and die maker, mold maker, all that.
at Martin Marietta?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because my dad had a machine shop in Inglewood called Preferred Machining that
wow.
had the QC room that if Martin Marietta could not do it or did not want to do it at their facility, they would farm it out to Inglewood because we had the QC department to handle that.
Wow.
Well, that being said,
And he was a machinist. He grew up being a machinist.
my dad was a journeyman machinist, and he took journeyman very seriously. He worked at many places.
My dad ended up starting his own company after being a machinist forever and ever, and then he invented a machine that they still use today in the aluminum can industry.
Oh, nice.
And it puts the end of this part. It's when we moved to 2-piece can from 3-piece can.
Yeah.
So he has a machine that adheres the top.
Oh,
of it.
nice.
That's when Smarge made her own company, and then
Yeah.
they basically.
Because I was
that's,
working there for like 12 years, just in, just with the guys and everything,
Right.
you know, payroll and stuff like that. But then after he passed, I had all these connections, and I did say to one, to some, I said, "Hey, I know about the end of the can. What about that rest of the can?" And that's what we've done now for 23 years.
Nice.
There you
Dealt
go.
with the rest of the can.
Her-
Poppy
they're
can.
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Oh my God, he's a machinist. We have to talk more
he
because
was-
they are a
Talk later,
breed, aren't
yes.
they?
Oh, he
Was-
loved his job, though.
I know. I
Really?
know.
But he was like, he could do it all. He could make injection molds.
Yeah, and at our place, we had machinists like 45 years machining,
Yeah, he did.
35 years machining. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
That's just
crazy.
their
Crazy.
love, their passion.
Yeah.
Again.
But when you said
But
Martin
so-
Marietta, I was like,
But did he
That-
go
that's
home
the
and
funny
watch
thing,
cop
again,
shows?
But again, talking
no,
about...
he went home and rode a horse. He was a cowboy in his
Wow.
off
was.
our mind.
Again,
this
again
is
talking
his
about...
first and last rodeo.
Yeah.
But again, talking about intelligence, my dad was the smartest person I've ever met in my
Oh,
life.
he's so
Oh,
As far as
wow.
like mechanically and mathematically, just
Yeah, and
crazy smart.
Shout out to dads.
My dad had like a crazy engineering brain with like I think his education went to 8th or 9th grade because
my
he
dad
ended up
was
in
just-
foster homes and then he
My dad was a high school graduate, but he could do logarithms in his head.
Yeah.
He could just,
Wow.
just
it's a connection
crazy.
that they find and
Yeah.
they can figure it out.
yeah. He was insane.
And that's
how
what
smart he was.
machining did for my dad.
I
you know,
bet
he
your
could
dads
figure
would have
this
got
out.
along really well.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Really well.
She loved her.
I loved his dad.
Yeah. I bet.
He was my buddy.
I bet he was a good
Bought me
dude.
my first dog.
I bet if he raised a man like you, I'm sure he was a great guy.
He wasn't. He believed in Ron. He
Yeah.
never doubted Ron for one
And that's what you
minute.
need.
He knew that
he was your
would
cheerleader.
be what he wanted to be.
That's what's important.
Everybody needs a cheerleader.
That's amazing.
Yep. And he's been my cheerleader, and I've been his cheerleader.
Yep.
And
Everybody needs a cheerleader.
Yes.
my favorite thing about him in 34 years was when he did retire. The word that came up about him over and over and over again from bad guys, from good guys, from peers, subordinates, superiors, was that he was fair.
Fair.
Nice.
That's a good word to have.
To live a fair
Especially as a
life.
cop. That's
my
that's
favorite.
a
Absolutely.
crucial
To
word.
live a fair life.
To a fair life, you guys. Cheers to
Cheers.
that.
Yeah.
I love it, love.
Definitely. And Isn't this great when you get to share stories?
Oh my gosh. See, this is what we love about the podcast is like we have all these stories to tell. People usually come on, they say they don't have a lot to say. Granted, we knew we had a lot of stories to tell with you, Ron, but we never knew we would come up with this connection here that like the two of you would have stories with your parents. I think that's beautiful. I'm glad we were able to uncover
when I ask
that.
people to be on the podcast, a lot of times their first thing is, what am I going to talk about? I don't have anything to say. And I'm like, yes, you do.
Oh,
your
everyone always
story
says that.
is just as important as my story or anybody else's story. You know what? That's what makes us human. That's what makes us different from other animals.
Well, it's your journey. Everybody has a
and
journey.
we need to share that more. And I think, which is really weird, and I don't quite understand it yet, with all the social media, it seems we're lacking sharing stories.
Yes.
And it's weird. It's a weird dynamic to me.
It's a really strange dynamic, and I
Isn't it?
agree with you 100%.
Do you? Okay, yeah. I feel that disconnect. So
I'm not on social media personally,
I'm not
like
on
Facebook.
That's not true.
Well, Instagram, I do.
Oh yeah, you whipped up
photos.
Instagram. You know,
I
I'll
do
share a story with
photos.
you later. I actually got kicked off of
wait.
Instagram.
But
by
we'll
Tell
Instagram.
that story in a
Yeah, I'll
minute.
tell you later. But yeah, I was impressed with your social media skills.
You do. You post almost every day of your little pup, your little
I wanted to see him
pupperoni.
grow.
And he
So
did
almost
grow.
every day I post a picture of him because I want to go back and remember what he looked like when I brought him home.
He is
adorable.
huge now. He's what, 150?
150?
Yeah, he's huge. He's beautiful. I love your dog.
He's a sweetie pie.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground. I do want to bring it to somewhat of a close unless we have a few more last minute questions. But I think, honestly, we could bring you back and talk for another
Absolutely.
4 hours.
I could
Bring
bring
Tom.
Yeah, we'll bring Tom. Honestly, like, thank you for sharing all these stories.
Oh my
That
God, to
was
hear all their stories.
miraculous.
The best.
And we've been
brought me to
wanting-
tears. We
Thank
were
you. 'Cause
crying.
when we very first started this, police officer, fireman, and teacher were the three. Like we were just going to concentrate on those three guests.
Yeah, those are like so crucial roles in our
So
society.
thank you for helping
So
us with our checklist.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're so glad you were on. Thank you for sharing all your stories. I mean, we know you have 1,000 more, 1,000,000 more, but again, we'll save it for round 2. We're now to the time for 5 on the line. So these are our quick questions we can ask both of you guys. These will just be like, spitfire questions. The first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
First question is,
And
who
you
is
can have
your
different answers individually.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So Ron, first, who is your favorite pet? I'm not going to say childhood because it also could be your current pet.
Samson.
I have heard a lot about Samson. That was one of your last mastiffs, right?
The one before this one.
Yeah.
Samson was the best.
Oh,
Yeah.
how long did you have Samson?
He died when he was 4, unfortunately. He started having seizures and died, and we didn't get to quite know him, but he was just
There's
the
such
best.
a
He was
connection.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Was
wonderful.
is that your same answer too then?
Yeah.
Yeah. He sounds like he was
Loki's
a perfect pet.
running for a quick, like Loki's looking to take over the lead, but he's only 2, so we don't know yet.
Yeah. You're not sure.
Yeah.
Wait until
I get
he's
it.
5 or 6 and then you can determine. But they're honestly they're all great
Yes.
in all aspects.
Yeah.
But sounds like he was a great one.
He was.
So, and then growing up, did you have a role model growing up? And has it changed or has it stayed the same? Like, who'd you look up to or?
Mine one was a dad. My
I
dad
knew
was-
you were gonna
Okay, yep,
say
yep.
that.
He was my guy. I mean, he made me what I am today.
That's
Yeah.
how I feel. And do you still talk to him? Like, if you get in, do you
Well,
still
he-
like, hey?
I feel him. I think about the things he said to me as I was growing up.
Yeah.
100%.
And it helps you still
Yeah.
to this day.
Yeah.
Nice answer.
Yeah.
How about you?
I did not.
Okay.
I hate to say that, but I did not. I grew up very independently.
Yeah.
We had
That's fine.
Group 4 of us grew up with a working mom that worked like 3 jobs, so we pretty much raised ourselves. So I think I was more focused on
Inside
just
and you.
getting by and getting.
So you
through
were
and
your role
making
model.
it. Sure.
So it's
Yeah,
you.
that's great.
And you know what? You get that credit.
Yeah.
You can take that.
And I'm be honest, I know you, Sherri, very well, and I would say you're a great role model.
Oh,
so
thank
I
you.
think that's a good
Yeah.
role model to have.
Thank you.
What was your favorite vacation as an adult or into your childhood years?
Oh, I'd have to say the last vacation I had was Rome and Greece.
Oh, that looked
nice.
It
amazing.
was so awesome. And me and her, I mean, I think we even though we've been married 37 years, we even connected on a deeper level with that amount of time.
Being
together.
somewhere different.
Yeah.
I
and
agree.
Being away
Yeah.
from your
Those are-
everyday.
One, it was just such, I think, really magical with Rome and then doing the different places in Greece and going back to Rome and Naples. I think it was just the environment was just, we connected so much.
Had you
I
guys been
agree.
there together before?
No,
So it was
Yeah.
the
It was
first time. So you both are
wonderful.
experiencing it for the first
Yeah.
time together
it was wonderful.
after being married how many years?
37.
That's awesome.
Like he laughed at me. We got off the subway in Rome and walked up to the stairs to see the Colosseum. And when you get to the top, the Colosseum is like boom, right there.
Yeah.
And I just stood at the top of the stairs and went, wow.
Like a
And he
kid.
laughed at me, in a loving, like
Yeah.
that's
Right.
so cool way. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was
Oh, that's
fun.
neat.
It was fun. It was fun to just have it just be me and him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because
That's
you guys probably
great.
hadn't taken a trip, just the two of you, in a really long time.
We like, and then that being said, like even when we went to the UK, I love
You don't
my
go to
kids,
UK for romance or food. You go for other things.
but I
Yeah.
love my kids, and I love the fact that like when we took them to UK, that I was there with Joe and Chrissy and go, isn't this awesome?
Yeah.
And I
You got to experience
I
it.
wanted that more than to go back home and go, you should have seen what we saw. I wanted that just for
Right,
that.
right, right,
Yeah.
right.
If we can afford it, we always like to bring them along because it's just I like sharing it with them.
Yeah. You guys do a lot
Right.
of family trips together.
We
I
do.
love that. That's good.
So if I were to ask you in your memory, childhood or adulthood, what was the vacation that was just the worst? No matter what happened, you just couldn't turn it around, and it just went from bad to worse. Like it just didn't
Homeless
matter.
in Tucson.
Tucson was pretty bad, but
Can I ask
boy.
if there was a VRBO or a bed? Like what was involved?
I usually tend to go with chain hotels.
Okay.
And I found this hotel called Hotel Tucson, and we were going down to see spring training. We couldn't afford to take a big trip that
training.
year.
Is that baseball?
Baseball.
Okay.
I had put this trip together. We drove down there. The drive was wonderful. We got there. As soon as we got there, the whole hotel smelled like weed. There was hookers coming in and out of the rooms. Our kids were like 16 and 14.
Oh no, you had the kids with you as
no.
well.
Joe was 18.
Joe was 18. 18
That's
and
hard.
16.
That's hard when you like.
So I called the travel company. I'm like, you have to give me my money back. I have to find another hotel. So they refunded our money so we couldn't go back to our room. And there was not another hotel room in Tucson.
Oh my
Because
god.
there was baseball tournaments and spring training.
Oh, of
and
course,
all
yeah.
these. So we drove around for like 7 hours. And I just remember Joe from the back seat going, oh, great. Now we're homeless in Tucson.
Eventually, we did find a hotel.
We did find a
but
hotel.
It was
twice
quite,
as expensive.
It was quite the deal, though.
It was
Yeah,
quite
Yeah.
the journey.
Yeah, it was hard.
It's always those.
Good for you
those
for
trips.
getting through it, though,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's like.
Those are the ones we talk about.
And then it's
though.
Oh, it is? Isn't
Exactly.
that weird?
Exactly.
Why is that the ones we
You
talk
can talk
about?
about the ones that don't go smoothly. more than
Yeah,
others.
it's always the ones that go off the rails.
We survived.
I think
And
that's the
I
thing.
believe on the way to that one is where we stopped at the Denny's.
Yes, that was.
I haven't eaten at a Denny's since then. And where was it?
Raton.
Raton.
Oh,
And I ordered a patty melt, and it was
Sounds
basically like they took all the meat from the bottom of the grill and like put it all on the
It
bun.
wasn't a singular
It
patty.
wasn't a
Oh,
patty.
it's
It was
just
just
like
a bunch
crumble.
of crumbles.
Oh.
And then he bit into his BLT.
That was a
What
club
was
sandwich.
it? Club sandwich, and it was frozen.
And the
Nice,
turkey,
nice,
turkey was
nice. Yeah, there you
frozen.
go.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. Yeah, that's
there was the floor was dirty. We're like, we're going now. We're gonna leave now.
I remember at one point going
Time to
over like
move on.
Raton Pass,
same
and it
trip.
was snowy. It was terrible going, and I'm like, I am not stopping. I'm not stopping.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
gonna
only
keep
reason we
going.
stopped-
I'm
The
gonna
only
keep going.
reason we
I'm gonna
stopped
keep going,
at the
and I
Denny's-
kept going, but it was very, very slow.
The only reason we stopped at the Denny's is because snow had
You
packed
see?
the grill of the car.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was afraid the car was going to overheat. So we're like, let's just stop here and eat. And
Yeah.
it was the worst meal.
Yeah.
And then
Just
we were
keep going.
homeless.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was.
And we ended up at Hotel Tucson.
Yeah.
Hotel Tucson.
Hotel Tucson.
Sounds
So,
lovely.
Hey, shout out to
Zero
Sudbuds.
stars. Do not.
Yeah, do not Sudbuds. And Mama
Nana.
Nana. That's right, Nana
From Tucson.
from Tucson. She needs to know.
She
Do not
should know.
stop there.
Yeah.
We need to let her
She
know.
doesn't stop in Tucson because she's so close. But
But she has a
We're-
house.
so
Well, she
we're-
lives in Tucson, but
Right.
don't stop at the bar. Don't just keep going.
we're referring to my mother, obviously. So she travels down from Colorado to Tucson. That's where she lives in the winter. But yeah, she makes her road trip down every year, and it's usually pretty adventurous. But yeah,
stop at
I'll
Raton
let
and
her
get-
know that she needs to
Tell her
avoid.
don't stop at Raton. and
Don't
get a
you
club
keep
sandwich.
going.
Love
Yeah.
Tucson.
going.
Don't recommend Hotel Tucson.
Fair. We'll let her know. And the very last question for 5 on the line is, what was the last song that you listened to?
Jonas Brothers, Summer Baby.
There you go. Jonas Brothers. Didn't you see Jonas Brothers? Or your Chrissy
I
did?
did.
Many times.
Yeah.
Many times. I've seen
Nice to
proudly.
have
Are they
Doesn't-
back together?
Proudly,
or are they
yes,
still
they
separate?
are.
Are they back together? Like
Proudly
there's
have
3
seen
of them,
the
right?
Jonas Brothers 11 times.
11?
I'm a Joe Bro lover.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
that's your Willie Nelson.
With your daughter, right?
With my daughter. It's a
Yeah.
mother-daughter thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she won a contest, so we got to spend a weekend with them in Texas when she was 16, which is like,
Oh,
A weekend
Free
with
girls.
them?
We went to, they flew us down. We did
Fun.
backstage passes, pictures, front row seats at the concert. Went
What?
to see them in a charity baseball game the next day. Tickets again in Dallas. We did Houston, Dallas, front row seats.
Yeah, I'm still waiting
tickets.
for my Willie Nelson package.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know.
then they
Wait,
flew us
hoping.
home
She drove.
I didn't know that.
Her and Chrissy drove to
to
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania to
Stop.
watch Nick Jonas in a concert.
Oh my
No
God,
way.
I love you. You are
my
like when
God.
you make up your mind and you love, so you're gonna do it.
We did it.
You're a go-getter.
We did it. I know.
And then-
So it's
I
so
She drove
fun.
back
that.
and started a new job on Monday.
The next day,
I-
I drove
Oh my
back
God.
on Sunday, got home at midnight, started a new job on Monday.
Oh, you're crazy.
It was. You don't think about that. The way out was fun. We're listening to Joe Bro songs. I got pulled over for speeding. Like, I'm sorry, I was listening to the Jonas
But
Brothers.
probably not in your district.
I didn't get a ticket either.
Oh, look at you. Look at you go.
Taking my daughter to a concert. We're
And you
late.
didn't show your boobs. You didn't lactate. You didn't do anything.
So-
You just did
No one
not
wants
get
to
a
see
ticket.
my boobs anymore.
That's not true. I heard. I heard that's not true for us.
You showed him a business card, didn't you?
I showed him his business card.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I still had it on the back of my
Well,
license.
I mean, being
I'm
married
married
that
to a
long, you
cop.
gotta do something.
I pulled the cop card.
Hey, there's
that's
perks, you
I
know.
pulled the. I sleep with a cop card.
Take
Yeah.
advantage of those perks, girl. You earned
You
it.
have to. A lot of stress.
Was that your last song too?
If she plays it, I listen
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
I,
You're just
Oh my
not
gosh,
going
you're like a
off of-
poppy
No,
G.
no. I'm
That's
not letting him
adorable.
off. I'm not
Oh,
letting
okay.
him off the hook. that
Oh,
easily.
okay.
His last
Ron.
song,
Do tell.
Dua Lipa.
I do like
Nice.
You like Dua
Nice.
Lipa?
Yeah.
Okay, I could see that somehow.
He's very sultry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was liking the Hello
see
Kitty
that.
nipple patches
Oh.
that
I
she
can
wore the
See
other
that.
night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he likes her.
Oh my gosh, that is just.
I'm not
hilarious.
jealous. She's
I
not,
just
That
she's
like
no
checks out.
midget, you know. But
I get it. I get it.
I just like hearing what people listen to last.
I
mean,
know.
it's just-
It really like
I
you'd be
just love it.
surprised some of the things that people tell us. So
would be
that was
surprised.
that was pretty good. But thank you guys so much
Thank you
for
so
being
much. I can't
on.
wait to have you guys back. This has been great.
Yeah,
This has
thank
been
you for
fun.
spending your whole afternoon
Let
with
me
us.
know when I got to get a hold of Tom because he'll
Oh,
do it.
absolutely.
Oh, we'll let you know. We'll
You
let
would love
you know.
Tom. Tom's crazy.
Yeah, we would love to have you guys back on. We have way too much to talk about.
And you
so,
grandsuds, I mean, it sounds like a good gig.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling for sure one of them is going to be an adrenaline seeker, I do believe.
Oh, I can
So,
very much agree
and-
with that.
you know, the way I have it calculated, I'm going to have like 12 grandsuds, right? By the time
Yeah.
we're done.
Yeah.
So someone's going to want to be a police
Well,
officer.
they
So
can always
thank
talk
you.
to Ron.
And you have
So
a great
thank
mentor.
you so much. That's
So-
what I mean. Thank you so much for just introducing this career and passion.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you for kind of clearing up my anxiety I have against cops.
Oh, well, no, you're going into
So-
treatment tomorrow. But
So I'll tell you this. That's the
therapy.
last word.
Yeah.
Even when I was on the job, when I got pulled over, I got anxiety.
okay. Oh, there you go. Okay.
That makes me feel so much
Yes.
better. Thank you.
And you heard it from a cop himself. So you do get, when you hear that, woo, woo.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
It's-
you're just
Okay.
in your own car. Yeah, you get anxiety.
Okay.
my brain just starts racking. I'm like, what did I do wrong? Like I can't. My
don't-
brain just loses.
Nobody
it.
wants to get pulled over.
No, it's the
No.
worst feeling in the world. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you said that. That,
Yeah.
that makes me feel a lot better. So
Yes.
you guys heard it.
That's,
It happens to everybody, but
let's wrap it up.
They're just people.
Yeah.
they're just people.
We're all people. Let's
Thank
wrap.
you so
and
much,
this is great.
guys.
Let's wrap this wash up with this laundry load up with a quote from Jelly Roll. I was listening to him and he said, "Hey,
You've been on the Jelly Roll.
I
kick.
know, I have been." He said, "Hey, what doesn't get you in the wash will get you in the rinse.
Yeah, there you go.
Keep it
believe it.
together." You know what I
really
mean?
say
And
that?
he did, and I'm like, "Oh, that'll
your-
fit
that's your
perfect
quote.
on my podcast."
I
Oh
believe it.
my God, I
But
love
it's
that.
true because it's true. Like metaphorically, real. It's true.
Yes.
Unless you
It's-
have a
I
badge that
just-
says this is not a bag of drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not a bag of drugs, right? I mean, it's just crazy
Yeah.
that. But anyway, Jelly Roll did say that, so yeah.
Awesome.
So
Shout out to Jelly Roll.
Yeah, shout out to Jelly Roll, and everybody. Just everybody.
Shout
For
out
being
to
good
our
humans. Shout out to those good humans out there.
and to all our cops. Thank you so much for everything you do. And I don't think you get enough credit. I think you get a lot of backlash.
No, you don't. I know you don't.
So thank you for everything you did for your entire career. We can't thank you enough.
And we can't wait to have you guys back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Signing out.
Hey, before we wrap up this spin cycle, Haas and I would like to give a quick shout out to those listeners who may be famous. We really do adore you, and even though you do not qualify as an NTRG, not the real guest, we would always love to hear from you. This is Smarge and Haas, keeping it sorted, keeping it real, from the family laundry room. Be safe, stay even, and remember, when in doubt, go half.
Thank you for listening to Dirty Laundry Clean Confessions. Follow us on Instagram at Dirty Laundry Clean Confessions. And if you would like to be the next Not the Real Guest, please email us at dirtylaundrycleanconfessions@gmail.com. We would love to air out the dirty laundry with you. A DLCC disclaimer. In this live pre-recorded episode of DLCC, Not the Real Names, NTRN, have been used to protect the guilty and a few of the innocent.